Hello and welcome to the third lesson of Unit 1, and today we're going to be talking about midpoint formula. So that's what we're going to be learning about today. And a midpoint formula is very similar to an average, and just to help you guys out remembering what an average is. Let's say that I started at 20 miles and then I ran and ended at 30 miles. In order to find the average, or the middle, between these two numbers, what we're going to do is take the two numbers, add them together, and then we're going to divide by the number of numbers. So there's two numbers here, so I'm going to divide by 2. And that's how you're going to find the middle, or the average, between those two numbers. So 20 plus 30 is 50. And then divided by 2. 50 divided by 2 is 25. And you probably could have figured that out. The number in between 20 and 30 is 25. But that is a way to prove the midpoint formula, which we're going to do here. Now, with the midpoint formula, you do need to have coordinates. Just like we use the distance formula, we use coordinates there. Midpoint formula, same thing. We're going to start off with x1 and y1. These are going to be just coordinates on the coordinate plane, just like you do with the distance formula. And x2, y2. Now with these, you are going to find the average between the x's. That will give you your midpoint x. And then you'll find the average between the y's, and that will give you your midpoint y. So let me go ahead and show you how it's done. What the equation is going to be is we're going to add our x's together. We're going to find the average. And then all we have to do is divide that by 2. That is going to give us our midpoint x. And I'm going to call that xm. That's going to let me know that that is my midpoint of x. Same thing with the y. You're going to take the average of your two y's. And we're going to be using numbers here in a moment, so this hopefully will become a little bit clearer. But I'm going to take y1 plus y2 and divide it by the number of numbers. I have two numbers, so I'm going to divide it by 2. And that is going to eventually give us the ym, our midpoint y. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to use this midpoint formula with real numbers. I've rewritten it in a little bit different way. It's still the average of your x's divided by 2, and the average of your y's divided by 2. And that's going to equal, the first set is equal to our x midpoint, and the second set is equal to our y midpoint. So that's how I'm going to write it that way from now on. And I'm going to give us some coordinates. So I've got -4, 1, and 2, -3. I want to figure out what is the middle, or the midpoint, between these 2 points. So if I were you, at least to start off with, I would label these. This right here we're going to call x1. This one we'll call y1. This will just make it easier when we plug things into the equation up here. And this second one I'm going to call x2, y2. Okay? From here on out, it's simply just plugging it into the equation. So instead of x1, I'm going to put -4. Instead of x2, I'm going to say plus 2. And then I'm going to divide that by 2. And then I'm going to do that with the y. That's supposed to be a comma there. Instead of y1, I'm going to put the number 1. Plus, instead of y2, I'm going to put the number -3 divided by 2. Now I'm just going to simplify. -4 plus 2, well, that's basically 4 minus 2. So that's going to be a -2 divided by 2. And we have 1 plus -3, 1 minus 3, which is -2 divided by 2. Simplify all of that, and you're going to get -1 as